My wife slammed the door, nearly running into the kitchen from the garage. Max, my fucking boss, told me I had to sleep with him or he'd fire me. I glared at my beautiful wife, who was seething with anger, clearly wanting me to do something about her problem. I'd married Lois 5 years ago, having met her through her sister. Believe it or not, I was on a blind date with her sister, Sydney, when she told me I wasn't her type, but she would introduce me to her sister. She did as she promised, and everything had been great ever since. Lois, I'd ask if you're kidding, but you're too upset to joke. Damn it, Max. This is serious. Honey, it's nothing. You don't even need this job. I love what I do. I don't want to lose my job. She worked as a veterinarian's assistant. She was an animal lover, and she had tons of dogs, cats, birds, and everything else she could get her hands on. And I didn't need to get pets I didn't want. I was happy with my 2 cats. She didn't have to work because my family was wealthy, and I had a large trust fund that we lived on. I also clerked for my Uncle John, who was a state Supreme Court judge. If Greg is being an ass, just leave. You're pregnant, and I was hoping you would be a stay-at-home mom. She should have talked to her boss, Greg, about going part-time after the baby was born. I guess he thought sleeping with her would be the best idea. I know, but I like working. Standing up, I hugged her tightly and touched her belly. She wasn't showing much, being only 3 months pregnant, but I still enjoyed stroking her stomach. She liked it too, and she let me have my fun. Let's calm down and think about this. Okay? Kissing her, I led her by the hand to the couch. It was a small office she worked in. There was no HR department to report him to, and suing the scumbag wouldn't do anything since there was no proof. But we had to do something. She fell asleep in my arms while we watched Chopped. But my thoughts were preoccupied with our problem. Dr. Greg needed to be dealt with. I could have hired someone to kick his ass or break his arms or legs, but that didn't seem drastic enough. I wanted him to suffer. Nothing came to mind, so I carefully awakened the love of my life to take her to bed. Taking my pajamas out of the closet, I saw a box on the side. That gave me an idea. A plan in motion. Honey, I think you should meet with Greg. What? Lois shot up in bed, eyes wide. Yes, tomorrow night. And I'll have to be there. She looked at me like I had 2 heads. That's when I told her my idea. The smirk that appeared on her face when we finished talking sent a chill down my spine, but I was determined to make it work. The next morning, I paid Dr. Greg a visit at his office. He wasn't thrilled to see me, but I assured him that he would like what I had to say. Okay, Max, what can I do for you? He asked, closing his office door. Greg, I take it you're interested in my wife. He started to stammer, but I raised my hand to stop him. I'm not here to start a fight, I said smoothly. In fact, I'm willing to cooperate. Are you serious? Lois has certain fantasies she's been wanting to explore. So far, I haven't agreed, but I'm open to negotiation, under some conditions. He smirked.
I'm listening.
Good. First, it happens tonight or not at all. Deal. Second, I'll be present. That made him pause for a second, but then he grinned. You can be there, but I might say some things you don't like. I chuckled. Say whatever makes you happy. Deal. Third, everything will be documented. I get a copy, he said quickly. Of course, and it stays private. That's non-negotiable. Fine, he said. Anything else? One last thing, Lois decides if this happens again. If she's not interested, you back off completely. Max, after one night with me, she'll be the one calling. I forced a smile. Sure, Greg. So, do we have a deal? He stood up and shook my hand. Oh, we have a deal, Cook. With a casual laugh, I said, Great, I'll see you tonight. I'll even bring my best whiskey. Lois gave me that same unsettling grin as I kissed her goodbye. The plan was in motion. That night, Greg arrived, already boasting. How about that whiskey, Cook? Sure. Let's head to the den. I poured him a glass of expensive Macallan. He downed it eagerly. Lois is getting ready. You know how women are. I said, swirling my drink. He glanced at the photos on the wall. Nice shots. You take these. Lois did. We travel a lot. You must be doing well for yourself, cook. I manage. Honey, I'm ready. Lois called from upstairs. Greg's smirk widened. Well, I guess that's our cue, I said, keeping my tone even. Grab the bottle, he said, striding toward the stairs. I picked up the bottle and followed. When I entered the room, Lois was already setting the stage. She wore a sleek black dress, her confidence radiating. Greg's eyes were glued to her, oblivious to anything else. I took my seat in the corner, pouring another drink as the scene unfolded. Lois stepped forward, locking eyes with Greg. Greg, she said with a knowing smile. This is going to be a night you'll never forget. He grinned. That's what I like to hear. She glanced back at me. And I'm sure we'll all remember this for a long time. Greg had no idea what was coming. I have a few fantasies, Greg, and you're going to fulfill some of them. Okay? Anything you say, baby. He leaned in to kiss her, but she put her hand on his chest. Not yet, stud. Lie down. He sank down on the bed, and she pulled out a bag from her shopping trip. I'm going to tie you up, she teased with a smirk. He chuckled. Wow, you're full of surprises, aren't you? She secured his wrists in soft restraints and fastened them securely. Then, she picked up some thick pillows from the floor and placed them underneath him. This is for a better angle, baby, she purred. She picked up the camera and brought it up to his face. Greg, do you trust me? Of course, baby. She put the camera back on the tripod and smiled. I'm going to blindfold you, okay? He hesitated for a moment but eventually nodded. She whispered, trust me, and gently covered his eyes. At that moment, the atmosphere in the room shifted. I stepped forward, my voice calm but firm. Greg, my wife gave you a choice and you agreed. Now, things are going to change. He tensed. What are you talking about? You'll see. I walked over to the nightstand and pulled out an envelope. Inside this is something very important. Proof of what just happened. Now, I need you to listen carefully. Greg swallowed hard. Look, I don't want any trouble, he muttered. Good. Then you'll leave, and we won't have to discuss this again. Lois stepped forward, wrapping a robe around herself. I unlocked the restraints, and Greg sat up quickly, his expression uncertain. Just go, I said, opening the door. He hesitated, then walked out without another word. As the door clicked shut, I turned back to Lois. She was watching me, her eyes filled with something unreadable. Then she smirked. Now that the drama is over, I think you and I have unfinished business upstairs. I chuckled, shaking my head. Just to be clear, love, I'm the one staying, right? She winked and started up the stairs.